same, it's all the other way. I can't do it on my own. 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 At times I wanna run away, so sick and tired of doing things my way. I just wanna know there's a brighter day. Nothing's ever the same, it's all the other way. I can't do it, Lord, I need you. My own. I can't do it, Lord, I need you. My own. I can't do it, Lord, I need you. My own. I can't do it, Lord, I need you. I can't do it, Lord, I need you. My own. I can't do it, Lord, I need you. My own. I can't do it, Lord, I need you. My own. I can't do it, Lord, I need you.
I can imagine living without you, holding this book, thinking about you. So much on how to. I'm better than this. Look in the back, I'm ducking the past. Demons are back, I'm holding the bag. There's no going back. I'm gripping it hard. I'm looking at thee. We focus on living, spiritual healing. I wanna feel it. She with the vision. We washing our garments, soon to be busy. We want deliverance. Last call, the sky splitting. Watch it repenting. I want a life without no ceilings. I want a block that do not fear me. I want a bump so that they hear me come. Riding around that New Jerusalem. Ride with me. Ride out. Ride with me. That's right. That's right. Ride with me. Ride around we go. Ride around now. Ride around we go.
Yeah, heart racing, I've been waiting. Running to the Lord, I'm coming home cause he been patient. I've been hella faithful to Satan. Mind changing, I'm just trying to get it right before he replace me. You know sin is contagious, yeah. I'm looking forward but mentally stumbling morally. My mind telling me the world glitter and it's more to see. I'm running from myself, going double time mentally. Sometimes I shock myself, I ain't know that thing exists in me. How to me against the enemy. Wartime and I ain't looking for a friend in me, yeah. Lord, shine some rays on me. I ain't a gangster, but sometimes I gotta tap into that energy. World shakers, no Creflo, but world changes. Still aging, pray when he find me, I'm found faithful. World shakers, no Creflo, but world changes. Still aging, pray when he find me, I'm found faithful.
I've been going double, yeah. I've been going double time. I've been going double, yeah. I've been going double time. I've been going double, yeah. I've been going double time. I've been going double, yeah. I've been going double time. Yeah, man. Ever since I found out the truth about my nationality, I've been going hard on the daily, spiritually. All these curses put on the nation. I can't relate to every one of them. Round and around we go. Same old thing, still ain't had enough. Round and around we go again. And they say that I'm crazy, the way that I'm pacing, but I put my faith in Most High. I know who I am now, I know that I'm chosen, and I don't plan on going back. I've been going double, yeah. I've been going double time. I've been going double, yeah. I've been going double time. I've been going double, yeah. I've been going double time. I've been going double, yeah. I've been going double time.
Yeah, seen him 10,000 times. I'm in overdrive. The workload don't move slow. My hat's off to true folks. I salute those that follow the Jew code. No days off, bringing bringing the light to the people like Akon. Our faith strong like King Kong. We'll move in a moment. And it's 0 to 100 from night to the morning till we get it how we want it. Yeah.
Round and around we go. Same old thing, still ain't had enough. Round and around we go again.
Learned the truth and took off like a rocket. Got me going double time like I'm rocking 2 watches. It feels good to be a prophet surrounded by prophets. And I refuse to be that dog that returned to his vomit. Father, I'm working to come back to you. Studying the word in the scripts like I'm a character. Keeping these commandments and that's building up my character. Driving out these demons now, no more dodging them challenges. I done away with all those spirits I was entertaining. Hoping and praying that you listen to my supplication. Constantly changing to the God that you created. Ain't feeling suicidal, but I'm trying to die daily. Cause I know the mission, and I know what's waiting in the ending. The kingdom's coming, we getting closer, I can feel it. Gotta stay diligent, I'm steady playing my position. Lord knows that I don't wanna miss it. So I've been going
double, yeah. I've been going double time.
Tell me where the love goes. Where the love? Tell me where the love goes. Tell me what it is, what it was though. You looking puzzled. I asked, tell me where the love goes. This is the message, keeping it separate, cutting them all off.
Your show is scheduled to start in 36 seconds.
Cutting them off, they dead twice. Something I never get like his headlights. Is you frontin' like headlights like these niggas. They read scriptures, then they pass them off like flea flickers. At minimum, keep it 3 digits. It broke my heart seeing Serena spin the father face. The race you they gave him nothing but hate.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds.
Not the case,
4,
but watching wait, cause
3,
God is great.
2,
I've been watching
1.
from outer space. Ain't
It's that time again. Yeah. Ya es la hora. You know, power hour. Ponle atención, class is in session. Tune in for an hour, maybe more, that's a blessing. Learn from the captains and the leadership. Flee from religion, cause them churches never teaching everything you learn for your benefit. Line upon line is a requisite. Never take a deficit, yeah. That mean you take a loss if you stray from the way. You get the understanding if you study every day. Apply what you learn and bless when you pray. There's one interpretation, man, it say what it say. Ya viene el tiempo, entra para el templo. Aprende del maestro con talento. La Biblia es el centro, usando a Israel como instrumento. No te pierdas en doctrina como viento. Estudia y ora y aplica. Tiempo para Dios, ven, hace una cita. Escritura dinamita, morenos y hispanos israelitas. Oye cómo explica Israel unido en Cristo para la vida, nunca se divida. Tune in, it's the power hour. Learn your family history, don't be a coward. Yeah. Tune in, it's the power hour. I said learn your family history, don't be a coward.
Yeah, history to learn. It's the power hour. The 11th hour. Tune in to your history. You know it ain't no mystery. Power hour. The 11th hour. You gonna get your history. The 11th hour. Power hour.
Shalom, shalom. Welcome to the Power Hour Plus edition. I am Deacon Joshua.
Officer Ishaiah.
Officer Tobias.
All praises to the Most High. We back for another episode. Thank you for joining us, as always.
Yes, right.
They on the sound effects. All right. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. Hey, let's not forget, you can call in. You see us down there. Donate to the Booster Club. We got that. What do they call it? A ticker? A streamer? Got a streamer going. Says you can call in 516-531-9797. 516-531-9797. Also, let's not forget, let's donate to the Booster Club. IUIC.fundraising at IsraelUnite.org. As I mentioned, though you might not see 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 trips a year due to what's going on with restrictions still, those funds help us to maintain the international radio shows. We do different initiatives in the international schools in addition to the travel, all right? So, we got some Africa travel coming up. Northern Kingdom has been alternating now this year. We started last year with just Puerto Rico. This year we're alternating between Dominican
DR.
Republic and Puerto Rico.
Lord's will, I can go.
Yeah,
Lord's willing.
we're waiting on you.
I'm able to go now. I'm
All
good.
praise to the Most High. So
All praise to the Most High.
throw your hat in. And now it's the
He's
job.
official.
Yeah,
Now it's the job. Before it was the status, now it's the job.
yeah, just days.
Yeah.
Gotta get days.
I got you. And then we're looking maybe Ecuador this quarter. I don't know. We're trying to see. Like we want to go where we have like some established people.
Right.
Uh,
We got brothers in Ecuador and Belize too, right?
I heard Belize.
Yeah.
We got something going on there. So possibly that coming up. And we have some targets for some other Central South American countries where we might just break ground and see what's what. But
Let's go.
we'll see what's going on. So we'll see how that goes.
Let me not get excited because they won't give me days off. Damn it.
Hey, let's not forget, family. You see our social media up there at IUIC Phoenix on Instagram, at the Lost 144K on Facebook, and Twitter at IUIC Phoenix. All right. Also, if you're watching us on IUIC Classroom 2, don't forget to jump on over to IUIC Phoenix on YouTube and subscribe and like. All right. We can really use the support. We still kind of stuck there. It's 11.4, I guess it says now.
Yeah.
11.4 subscribers. We're trying to get to 15K. All right. So we waiting for y'all. Yeah, I know some of y'all watching on Facebook. I can't look at comments anymore on Facebook. I mean, they're there, but it's like, I don't know. It's like the layout. I can't.
Yeah.
I used to be able to like monitor the comment streams and stuff like
Right.
that. I can't monitor the comment streams the right way.
Yeah.
Oh, they said Northern Kingdom is in the U.S. Virgin Islands, St. Croix, and St. Thomas. All praise to the Most High. That's good to know. Maybe we'll send some Northern Kingdom when we do some trips over there because what we're doing with DR now, knowing that Haiti's right there,
Right.
is we're sending a couple of Levi Creole-speaking brothers in addition to the Spanish-speaking brothers
Right.
as far as DR is concerned, just based on the makeup of there. So, I imagine Belize, too, also has like some Benji from
Benji,
what I
right?
experienced. Yeah, so we
Yeah.
might need to take some Benji with us when we go to Belize too.
Just like there's a lot of Levi at the border in Tijuana.
Yes.
Heavily,
Yes, right? We took Levi with us when we did the TJ Blitz as well. So, based on that.
Hey, that's powerful because they're not only going to see Hispanic brothers, so-called, right? Now they're going to see, Hispanics and blacks teaching to Bible, standing post together.
Yep.
That's a heavy thing.
Yeah.
That's a big, that's a marker we're setting that, hey, just like Issachar, you know how you put on the message and we were like, yo, we're happy because the two sticks are joining.
Yeah.
We're showing the earth that the two sticks, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we can work together. We are stronger when we work together, and that's prophecy.
That's right.
That's what it
That
is.
Prophecy.
It's prophecy. So, all
right,
praise to the
and
Most High.
we're showing the people that too, especially like in DR, they'll see that also. So especially where there's
Right.
places where there's divisions, with amongst the tribes, it's nice to go there and show them how we're able to unite under the scriptures. So
Yeah.
all praises, all praises. Someone said that's why the haters mad. IUIC do the work. Yeah,
That's exactly why.
Yeah, usually when somebody, you ask those people why, they would be upset or what's your gripe, and they can't even really articulate it. They sound crazy when they try to explain why it is, and because the reality is the real reason is there's a representation of what they're not and what they're not doing, and it vexes them, So,
Envy.
yeah, as someone said, you have to get that jab or meet up. It depends on where you're going. That's why travel has slowed down. Some places you just got to do testing and things like that. So
Right.
that's why we're kind of making sure we do a lot of legwork and research and see what the requirements are and stuff like that for us to go out and hit some of these locations. So, gosh, I posted so much stuff.
Let's go.
I don't know if we're gonna get through it all. I don't know if we're gonna get through it all. I know I put it all in the title. I don't know if we're gonna get through all of it in the title. No, and then like I had to stop myself because I said, "Guys, this is like a 2 or 3 part thing if I do this." I said, so, this week, and like you see, I don't really pay attention to it anymore, but it dawned on me because it's like everywhere because everybody else is dealing with it, and it's Holy Week, Semana Santa.
Yeah, I didn't know till I went to go get a haircut, and they're like, "Yeah, you getting ready for Easter?" I was like, "It's this.
Yeah.
It's when is it?"
No, it started as Easter, and they made it a whole week.
Yeah.
Semana Santa.
Amen, hallelujah.
Yeah. Right. So because I didn't realize. I said, "Oh, my daughter's off from school Friday." I'm like, "Damn, they even closed for Good Friday. They call it.
The hell is this?
Good Friday. Gosh. Yeah, man. Yep. So, I'm sorry, I was just reading some of the comments, but I can't keep up with all the comments. So anyway, I was thinking about this, and I said, every year this thing comes up, and I know a lot of us, we can never take for granted that the bulk of our audience are people that are trying to get themselves right, so they're aware that they shouldn't be keeping it. But I think some people are not really able to articulate well. And not that I'm saying you need to go to war with your family on explain because they're not going to care.
Right.
Right? We'll talk about that as far as your eyes being open and whatnot. That reminds me, I had some notes here. I don't know where they went. Oh, there they are.
Bring it out.
Okay. No, I just want to make sure I got the notes there.
Okay.
Let me look at the screen here. All right. And y'all, you say something. I want to see the stuff that I posted that I want to hit first.
You posted a lot. All praises to the Most High. Another week, Israel. How was your closing, Tobias? Dang, I did it off of Siseraha.
Golly. Talk to the audience. Why are you talking to him?
Right.
Goodness gracious.
I'm gonna back that up.
Come on,
I'm gonna take it back. Hey, shalom, Israel. Most High in Christ bless. I pray y'all having a good week. It's Wednesday, and we're here with another hour of power to give you motivation and a boost to get through the week. I pray y'all are ready for the double Sabbath coming up. We had last week we had a feast, right? The closing, and this week we're having another feast. All praise to the Most High. So I'm ready for this new moon. We're about to get it in. It's on a weekend.
Who says Israel doesn't have fun?
Right.
It's like week after week. It's feast days nonstop.
Mm-hmm. So, and if you don't work on Sunday and you don't stay to party, you out the spirit. You out the spirit. So, all praises to the Most High. We'll be ready. Hey, also too, man. Leadership has been bringing it out. Brothers and sisters, let's be mindful when we're feasting. We're having a good time. If you can't handle your drink, come on, man. Don't be killing it for everybody, right? Brothers and sisters getting spirits, and then they start dancing, like we're in the club, like we're in the world. Come on, man.
It starts with dancing, and it leads to touching.
No, it starts with drinking.
Yeah.
It starts with drinking, and then brothers and sisters can't, control their drink.
Hell no.
And from there, it starts to like, oh, I'm feeling myself. Let me get closer, and let me start shaking my behind and stuff. And then y'all killing it, man. Come on. So check y'all spirits, man. All praise to the Most High. There's repentance, but don't be killing it, man. We're in righteousness. We're learning how to keep the laws and how to be modest, right? The sisters how to be modest, but, well, man, just had to get on them a little.
Yes. All right. So.
I was stalling.
Bro, you got to do better than that. Come on, bro. If you co-hosting, you got to be able to talk. I mean, you see the title there. You got to just go with it. Say some stuff. No, don't say nothing now. I'm about to talk. Anyway, so let's get 1 Timothy 4:1. I want to go back there because I was going to... last week's show went longer on the segment I was talking about with... the people would have us without a shepherd and all of that, because they ain't trying to, it's not that they think that they can do better. They just don't want anybody up front doing those things. But that's not what we're talking about this week.
You sure?
No, yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. All right, go ahead, read that.
The book of 1 Timothy, chapter 4, and verse 1. Now the Spirit speaketh expressly, that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils.
Right. So, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. So one of the things, I guess I'm gonna go forward and deal with what's known as new gods, right? Because we're gonna talk a little bit about the show American Gods. I'm gonna use that as a reference. All right. The show's been canceled. It's based on a series of books. I'm disappointed it was canceled. I thought it was pretty good. I was enjoying watching it, and I think a lot of times we take for granted the subtleties and how there's still idolatry around today and how we put ourselves in those positions. And I was talking about it with like the team logos and the mascots and so on and so forth. When I was doing my class, I think on Saturday, I had brought that up. And you have these modern type of religions, and people may not subscribe to it in a religious way as far as your traditional concept of it, right? But I was using sports as the example, right? I mean, what's the sanctuary, the stadium that they play in, right? I mean, what's their rituals, right? Yeah, we do this so that they can, I remember with the Yankees, there's the chant, there's this, there's that, so on and so forth. There's all types of things that go along with those types of things. And those are subtle things that we may never have realized, that we were in the midst of those seducing spirits. We were in the midst of those doctrines of devils and that idolatry. Now you have this Holy Week coming up, and we'll talk about that, which that deals with older gods that are still worshipped today in subtle ways. But you have the show American Gods, and the whole concept is you got old gods which are still around, and they're just not as powerful because they're not getting worshipped as much.
Right.
So they're basically in the hustle to try to get worship. Right. And then you have these new gods who are newer, rising in power, and it's real subtle in the way people worship them, because the whole premise is that they got to get prayers in order for their power to be fulfilled in the show and in the books, right? And nobody's praying to Odin. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's praying to Ostara, which is we're gonna talk about, which is Easter, Aostray.
You read the books before, the American Gods?
I haven't. I used to be an avid reader, but then it's like once I started learning the Bible, I was just kind of like, gosh, I'm gonna read these other books. I could be spending more time in the scriptures. So it's like it's a little bit of a conflict for me to go and, especially if it's fiction, right?
Right.
So go and read fiction now, when I can be spending time reading the Bible, So it's like, if I'm not gonna do my 4 chapters, why am I gonna go read a book or something like that has nothing to do with it? So it's a little difficult for me to kind of resolve that. Although, I do, movies maybe has kind of taken the place of that for me, because you see parallels in those literatures and in that fiction of the scriptures, right? But that's how it was for me with reading. But I used to be an avid reader. Part of me has been like, damn, I wouldn't mind reading the books just to see what else is in there. But then I feel like that about anything. And I got history books that I want to do for the show and different things that I haven't read. So it's a little tough. The reading's a little tough. If I could spend my life as a, strictly what they say, a scholar, then that'd be great. But we have other responsibilities. But anyway, I wanted to talk about this and this pantheon of gods, right? And you have these seducing spirits, and you got these new gods in this show, right? So let me just read about this. That's your guide to the gods of American Gods. We're not going to go through all of them. That's some pictures of the actors who played them. And it says, if you plan to watch American Gods without first reading the Neil Gaiman book that it's based on, you're probably going to have a lot of questions, like, why does the show open with Vikings coming to America in the year 813 CE? Why did the Vikings, shortly after arriving here, begin stabbing their own eyeballs out? These are scenes from the show. Why does the story proceed directly from the Viking scene to a cell in a modern-day prison? By the time you watch The Exchange, where the protagonist, Shadow Moon, is sitting in a limo opposite a young man whose face keeps dissolving into a jumble of pixels, you will inevitably find yourself asking, as Shadow Moon does in about so many words, what the hell is going on? Let me jump down. There we go. At the heart of this story is a fairly simple premise. When people come to America from other countries, as the Vikings do in the show's opening prologue, they bring their gods with them. And we went over this, was it on Saturday? Was it Numbers 25 with Baal Peor?
Baal Peor.
Yeah, Baal Peor. Let's get that real quick. So biblically, there's a reference to that, right? And you can start at 1.
The book of Numbers, chapter 25 and verse 1.
So we're dealing with that, when the show's premise, and we know that this is actually accurate based on the Most High trying to keep us separate from the other nations, is that with their culture comes their gods, their false gods, because we know there's only one true God according to the Bible. So let's read this in Numbers 25 and 1.
The book of Numbers, chapter 25 and verse 1. And Israel abode in Shittim, and the people began to commit whoredom with the daughters of Moab.
Come on.
And they called the people unto the sacrifices of their gods.
Right, so Moab was in proximity. And it says they called the people, the Israelites, unto the sacrifices of their gods. So just like we read about the show and the premise, when people get mixed up in a culture, with that culture comes their gods, and their beliefs. Read on.
And the people did eat and bowed down to their gods. And Israel joined himself unto Baal Peor. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel.
Right. So my point, that's all I wanted from that, is that that's just one example of it, but you see it throughout. There's a ton of examples that whenever we were around the people, that's why when we were going into Canaan, God said, you got to kill all of them. Because you can't establish your land and have that influence there, right?
Pollution.
Right. That's the pollution. You read in 2nd Ezra 13, they said, hey, let's go to a place where never mankind dwelt. Because there maybe we'll be able to keep our laws, right? That we were never able to keep here. Let's get that real quick. Let's read I just want that part. What verse is that in?
The beginning, one of the beginning ones, 40, 41 or something like that.
That was the remaining elders
Verse
of Northern
41.
Kingdom that had some sense, right?
Verse 41.
Let me see. Yep, go ahead.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 13 and verse 41. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen.
Right, so it's very specific. It says we don't just want to go here. We don't just want to go someplace where never mankind dwelt. You got to start piecing this together as there was a council, right? So the whole transcript of the council's not here. So you got to imagine it was a council. You know, oftentimes I'll say, like, you'll read one verse, and sometimes there'll be so much time in that one verse. But since we're reading it verse by verse, you're thinking of it momentarily. But you don't realize they took a council. That means this thing wasn't some quick thing. It wasn't a huddle like before playing football.
Right.
That means it was a big thing. It might have even taken hours or days.
And they took counsel. They said, let's go to where never man can dwell, because there was heathen living in Samaria and in Israel, in the northern kingdom part of Israel.
Right.
They couldn't go back home to Israel because there was heathens there living supposedly as Israelites.
Yeah, and that whole side of the world was at that time known as the known world. So, it's funny that they'll glaze over that when trying to say Arsareth was that side of the world, right?
Wow.
And it's not. They said we have to leave the multitude of the heathen. Where was everybody? Where was that multitude of heathen? All on that side of the earth. Read that again.
But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen, and go forth into a further country, where never mankind dwelt.
We're going to go into a further country where never mankind dwelt. Why did they want to leave the multitude of the heathen and go someplace where never mankind dwelt? Come on.
That they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land.
That they might keep their statutes there, which they never kept in their own land. And that goes with what we read in Numbers 25 about them being around the people, right, Moab, and then they came down and they started worshiping their gods. And it wasn't just Moab, but all these other nations and countless examples in the scripture. And they say, hey, we invariably wound up getting mixed up with them in that way. Right? It says you marry strange wives and you'll worship strange gods.
Right.
So going back to what we're reading in the show here, it says in the show's opening prologue, it says when people come to America from other countries, and it's not just America, it's anywhere, as the Vikings do in the show's opening prologue, they bring their gods with them. So that's the premise of the show, and we understand that that's biblical, that's spiritual. So eventually their descendants assimilate into American culture, and the old gods are mostly forgotten. Why? I also went over this in the show, First Maccabees 141, right? Because America's thing is the same thing that Greece did, and it was all should come and be one people with a great melting pot, and everyone should leave their ways and their religion and their customs. So eventually what happens in the process of time, Their old gods are mostly forgotten. So the show takes and the books take a spin on it from the perspective of the gods' view, right? The people are in the mix too, but it's mainly the gods are the main characters. And it says, yet the gods carry on, running funeral parlors or video stores or driving cabs. Like regular folks, they need to eat and make the rent. That's why I said they're in the hustle to try to get worship.
Right.
But they also need to be revered. When people stop worshiping them completely, they wither away. So that's the premise of the whole show. So here you have like a bunch of different gods that they list. You have Thoth, you have Odin. His character's name is Mr. Wednesday. You have Queen of Sheba. Bilquis, but that's also Hathor and the rest. She's like the god of beauty, sex. So like in the show, she has like, and in the books too, she has like sex with people, and like she winds up like sucking them into her box.
A succubus.
Yeah, she sucks them into her box.
Hey, zoom that in a little bit because I can't read the words. All right, and we can hear you laughing back there.
Right. So I'll read this one part so you'll see, because Bishop has spoke about Hathor, I think it was we were talking about. Anyway, it says, all the old gods we meet are hustling for faith. Take Bilquis, the woman in red, whom we meet in another of Ibis's chapters on the forsaken gods and goddesses. She's what's left in America of the Queen of Sheba, not technically a goddess. So, this guy that wrote this article, he touches a little things, but sometimes a lot of these gods, they're the same god, they're just a different manifestation of them through time, right? Like we'll read with Easter, like Ostara is also Diana of the Ephesians and all of that. So it says she's what's left in America of Queen of Sheba, not technically a goddess, all right? Gaiman describes her in the book as half demon, as far as his book is concerned, but nonetheless worshipped for her beauty and power. In the book, she's a prostitute, but on the show, she uses internet dating to meet these guys,
right? So
that she can get worshipped. So it says, or totally right. In the book, she's a prostitute, but she's on an internet date gone horribly wrong. Or totally right, depending on if you take her perspective or the unfortunate dates. In brief, they go back to her room, which is the color of raw liver, and have sex. Innocently, she asks him to light a red candle. Once inside her, she asks him to worship her. He obliges, and for his trouble, ends up disappearing inside her like a reverse birth. Satisfied, she admires herself in the mirror, her skin smooth and youthful once more.
Can a man go back into his mother's womb?
Oh, there, right? So that's how they portray it on the show. Like she eats them up in her box as she goes on these dates with them.
Bruh.
So where I want to go down, scroll down, that gives you a bunch of some of the old ones. And new ones popped up as the show went on in seasons. I want to go down to the new gods. All right, so we're going to start with... No, go up. You passed it.
Go up.
Technology boy. There we go. So, there's three main new gods that the show focuses on, right? This first one, they didn't give him a name because it's a new god, right? Like he's not really based on anything in particular, so they don't have a name. He's a new god. He's not based on an old god. The character's name is called Technical Boy, and he represents everything that has to do with technology. All right, so your cell phones,
right?
The internet, even computers and things like that.
Which nowadays is really powerful.
It's extremely powerful. Because what's one of the first things you do what's one of the last things you do when you go to bed nowadays, and one of the first things you do when you wake up?
Check your phone.
You're checking your phone.
Yeah.
You're on your phone.
When you go into rooms, you see people that can't even eat dinner together.
Hey, you know what's funny? When we went TJ, I think was it in TJ? We all went to dinner Friday night, the captains, and we were having dinner, and then I think it was Captain Jan. He took a picture of everybody on their damn phones, and he said, "Damn, look at this! Look at how jacked up we are." And it's funny because we're aware of it, but
still happens.
Maybe in the moment you fix it a little, so you give the undivided attention and all that, right? And then you just kind of move to it, right? And then like as you're not checking it, you're itching, right? You're itching to see, right? Some people are hooked on the Reels and Instagram. Bro, you got these algorithms. I keep saying that I want to do a show on it. I haven't done a show on it or a class.
You got to bring it out.
Bring it out! To show, like, the addiction that we have there. But that's like a form. Excuse me. Freaking heartburn's acting up.
Bro, they researched that as they set Facebook up. They literally researched how to make it to where it's like becomes that addiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the layout, like they track how our eyes move and stuff. And that's nothing new. They do that like in menus and restaurants, like good places that are gonna really maximize their business and their dollar. You don't just throw together a sign. Like there's a way that it should flow. So a lot of times you'll look at menus and there's little standouts, little bubbles. They'll position certain things and high value items and whatever.
Yeah, well, when I go to somewhere and if it doesn't have, I mean, I'll read it, of course, but if there's a picture, better. You know what I mean? So that's where they get me, and I'm like, oh, this looks good.
Yeah, you're right. So there's different ways they do that. Same way like with social media and things like that. And that becomes like a lust in and of itself for some people.
Right.
Bro, I'm telling you, man, I get on social more to like, you know, I'll follow things that like I like, right? So like I'll follow fitness channels, things about self-defense and, you know, stuff like that. Not to say I don't look at the occasional funny thing or funny clip or video, but a lot of what's presented to me is based on stuff like that because that's what I found. I can't. I tried like when MySpace and stuff first came out to be on that and whatever.
You brought up MySpace.
Actually, what was the name of? Because they had Black Planet, then they had the Spanish version of it. Do you remember Black Planet?
Yeah.
The site.
Dating site.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Well, it was supposed to be like a MySpace, but everybody uses to hook up.
There was one that was like very hood called Moco Space.
In
Moco Space.
That was in the Southwest.
But I remember like with Black Planet, and then they had the Northern Kingdom version. I can't remember what it was called. There was like a Spanish version of it, and MySpace. And remember when MySpace was the ish?
Yeah.
That thing just got destroyed when Facebook came out.
With your profile, you could put like little music clips there. So
everybody was like, "Welcome to my page." You had your welcome music and all that stuff. Anyway, all that stuff has like an addicting factor, and I tell you, I go on. Even I'm talking about like brothers and sisters that you know are repenting, man. Like sometimes I'm just like what's the thing with the social media, like?
Right.
You know, I mean, it's a good thing because it's a medium where there are eyes for our people. But I don't know. I feel like once you reach a certain level of repentance, I don't think you really need to be on there like that. Like I think it's excessive. It's seducing. It's one of those seducing spirits.
It's a provision for the flesh.
It's a provision for the flesh.
Right.
To be on those things. Yeah, bro. And then the way that they present things to you and the algorithm. But anyway, I digress because people are gonna start defending that thing vehemently.
Right.
So let me be easy right now because I'll save that for when I do the social media show. But anyway, some of y'all gotta check your social media spirit because what is really representative of is this new god called Technical Boy in the show. All right. And it says, throughout the first episode, Shadow remains mostly ignorant of the uncanny forces operating in his midst. His wife has recently died in a horrible accident, and all he wants is to go to her funeral and bid her farewell. It's there, however, where the theological issues become so pronounced that even he is starting to get the gist of what is going on. In the graveyard, he encounters a sparkly mechanical orb in a graveyard. Once the orb pounces onto his face, Shadow finds himself sitting in a stretched limo opposite the tech bro with the tendency to dissolve into pixels. He also uses way too much hair gel. We've reprogrammed reality, the tech bro says. This is the god of technology, the new god of technology. He says, we've reprogrammed reality, the techno bro says. Through a cloud of the synthetic toadskins he says he's been smoking. Language is a virus. Religion, an operating system. Prayers are just so much effing spam. So he says language is a virus. So he's letting you know the parallels between this technology and how it's presented and how it's used. And how it's set up. There's no mistake when he says religion is an operating system.
At all.
Because it's the rules of how this technology works, the operating system, and how it functions to bring you in. And he says prayers are just spam.
That's
right?
heavy.
Because he's the god of technology. Right. So he's saying all this stuff that's coming out, right?
He's getting so much prayers. He don't know what to do with it.
Yes.
That's ridiculous.
Yes.
Kind of like what is it, Bruce Almighty, where he's like
with
full,
the emails.
Yeah.
Except he's straight up the god of technology, and he is a new god that got born and manifested because of people's fixation on that stuff.
That's heavy.
It's not like he was there prior. That's the whole thing with the new gods. They didn't exist. But there's new things in the earth, so people have created these idols.
Okay.
All right?
That's heavy.
They've created these idols. And a manifestation of them appeared due to the emphasis that's given onto these things. All right. So he says, Shadow has been in prison. He's seen things, but even he is a little nonplussed. You're saying all this like I'm supposed to know what the F you're talking about, he says, because the main character, he's not really set up yet. So when he's talking about what he's talking about is war, or kind of war anyway. He's one of the new American gods. Technical Boy is his name. And he wants to delete Shadow, Mr. Wednesday, and every other ancient being wandering around America, sucking up whatever small share of belief they can muster. In the book, which came out in 2001, Technical Boy was depicted as a fat kid wearing a trench coat and drinking a Diet Coke, a Matrix fanboy. But times change and the gods change with him. Just as old gods wither away when people forget them, new gods materialize when new passions arise.
That's heavy. That's heavy.
New God. Remember, it says, read 1 Timothy 4:1 again. Read 1 Timothy 4:1 again.
And that's heavy. Well, it says that he was a fat boy with the coke, right?
Yep.
And I can see that in the 2000s, right? Now he's smoking. It said out of toad skin or something, and the vapes are a thing today.
Yep.
Vapes are a thing today.
Vaping, right? The vaping and all that. Yep. Let's get 1 Timothy 4:1.
The book of 1 Timothy, chapter 4 and verse 1. Now the Spirit speaketh expressly, that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils.
Right. So you give heed to these seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. So I say some of y'all, your behavior on social media is just like, yeah, think about it. Like, is it edifying? Is it exhorting what you're posting? Like, to what end, right? Are you using it for? And I get it. It feels like a way to be in touch with different brothers and sisters in Israel, but it's seductive. The point is, I'm just saying, you cannot totally avoid these things that's in the new things that are in the earth, but be mindful of them. Be mindful of them. Be aware, and don't feel like they don't touch you, like they don't affect you.
Right.
You know? What were you going to say?
I have a confession to make.
Uh-oh.
I can't go out. So say I go home to on my home screen, and then I close it. I come back on, and I automatically click on Facebook, even though I'm not a big Facebook fan.
Hell no.
Bro, for real. And I'm like, why am I going to Facebook, bro?
It's like when you're not even hungry, but you're bored, so you go to the fridge.
Yeah.
Yes.
You open the door.
Hey, someone said, yeah, it's true. It's I think Bishop Yawasab says this also often also. He says your brains get a jolt of dopamine when you get a text or a like.
Yeah.
It's something about, you know, and if you really think about it, that boils down to like a vanity type of spirit, right? Wanting attention. But anyway, so it says, but times change, the God changed with them. Okay, we said the passions arise. Therein lies the tension. As Technical Boy puts it in the novel, there's only so much belief to go around. They're reaching the end of all they can give us. You have Anansi. He's not really a new God. Hold on. Okay, there's another one, Media. All right. This God, the character name is Media. Okay. And it says, while gathering supplies for his road trip with Mr. Wednesday in some vast nameless superstore, Shadow is stunned to notice that Lucy Ricardo from I Love Lucy is talking to him from one of the widescreen TVs stacked in the electronics section. Like Technical Boy, Media is one of the new gods, and there's no doubt that she's been doing well for herself in the struggle for belief. Every time we binge a new TV show or watch a movie or read a TV recap or just stare at the news on our phones in quiet desperation, she grows stronger. Time and attention, she explains to Shadow with a wink, better than lamb's blood. Damn.
Bruh.
Ooh-wee.
Damn.
But I'm telling you, the show is flames, bro.
She's saying a lot right
And the dialogue is so heavy that, bro, there's been times where, like, you know, I'll get through a movie or something nodding off. With this show, I couldn't do that. Like, I had to like
focus.
I'm like, there. If I'm falling out, I gotta watch this when I'm awake because there's so much heaviness in the dialogue that comes out. And then they're doing that in absence of real understanding with the scriptures and what it represents.
Is this the one that she like used to be a prostitute or something, and then she started doing like porn or something, and then they started worshiping her? like that?
That's the one that we read, Bilquis. But it wasn't porn. She was just on dating sites and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
in the book, she's a prostitute.
No, but there's one that like they stopped. You had brought it out at the old school, and like she looks horrible, and then I think someone finds her and like, what's going on with you? I can help you.
Yeah, Technology Boys who helped the old god.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
So she was jacked up in the street, looking not all pretty and done up, and he said, "Look, I got a way for you," because they wanted her. The plot is that they wanted her to be like a double agent against the old gods.
Okay.
So he basically puts her on to like Tinder and dating apps.
Oh, the
Bilquis, right? And then that's how she winds up getting worship again. Right.
That's heavy.
Right. Yeah,
That's crazy.
because that's another form of worship too. It's like, you just after the box all the time.
Right.
Right? So in the world, right, many of us were whoremongers.
Yep.
We were worshiping the box.
Right.
Right? Pusaliah, putting the pussy on a pedestal. Right? Like I said. So media she said time and attention. So just the mere fact of how much time we spend on shows and different things like that.
Right.
It's a fine line between, what you call entertainment and what's really the worship of a medium of something, right? She said time and attention are better than lamb's blood. Fittingly, she makes a better, or at least prettier case than Technical Boy about why Shadow should side with the new gods. Instead of intimidation and pyrotechnics, she offers what seems like a fairly reasonable argument about how her side is clearly positioned to win the coming war, because it's a war against the old gods and new gods. Look at it like this, Shadow. We're the coming thing. We are already here. We are self-driving cars and 3D printers, she tells him.
Damn.
And your old boss is still selling oranges on the side of the road, not even organic. So letting you know again how powerful, how seducing those new spirits are.
And that's true.
So a lot of us thinking we're not, I'm not in idolatry. There's a little bit of an assessment there. Listen, this is why Christ had to die the way he did for us. The world is so polluted that if not for that sacrifice, none of us would make it.
Right.
In order for God to keep his promise of what he said, and based on his principles, his holiness of blood has to be spilled, he said there's not enough blood to be spilled for these people to redeem themselves in what's coming.
Right.
So I'm going to spill my son's blood once so that the judgment for those sins are done away with. And then I got to baptize the earth with fire in order to cleanse it of all this evilness and all this wickedness.
That's heavy.
Yeah, bro, that's why it's wild, right? I mean, again, you got to think of the spirit that you're in. Bro, I remember I went to Oklahoma one time for Tabernacles. Brother bought the whole PlayStation, big screen TV.
I remember you bringing that
and
up.
all this. Yeah. And then I'm like,
out here too.
Come on, man. Bro.
Out here too. It was Sabbath night.
I mean, and I'm still checking my phone out there, so right? I mean,
yeah.
I'm actually no less guilty.
Right.
But I mean, it's a lot more obvious how seduced you are if you bring the whole setup, rocking the PlayStation and everything.
You brought your living room out.
Brought the living room out there, right? And hold on, and then there's one. I don't know. I hope they have it. Globalism. You got different ones. The Midnight Star. If they don't have it here, I'm gonna have to look for it. There it is, Mr. World. All right, scroll down to Mr. World. So a lot of these are still old gods. Keep going. That's the jinn from different cultures. There we go, Mr. World. All right. Remember the bank job Mr. Wednesday was so confident he and Shadow would get away with? It turns out Mr. Wednesday failed to consider the possibility that his nemesis, Mr. World, could easily pull up the evidence to put them away. Like Media and Technical Boy, Mr. World's power is new. He seems to be the godly embodiment, at least in part, of the modern surveillance state. He has a world's eye view, as Mr. Wednesday puts it, and he's capable of obtaining information even the NSA might be hard-pressed to acquire, such as photographs of Shadow and Mr. Wednesday's bank caper that should not have existed, and the number of Shadow's mother's sexual partners. As the leader of the New Gods, he has a proposition for Mr. Wednesday. Instead of a war with the newcomers, how would Mr. Wednesday like to have his name emblazoned on the missile that will wipe out North Korea? Mr. Wednesday doesn't seem interested, but from a godly perspective, it might not be the worst deal in the world. At least people would once again know his name. As Nununi learned, the worst possible thing for God is to be forgotten. So he really represents globalism, Mr. World, right? So that's the what you read in Revelation about all must buy and sell from her, and if they don't have the mark, all right? So that's a new God in the earth, and that whole function of globalism, which basically means the whole world is open to surveillance and review and people getting it. And there's so many people that worship that as well in their own right.
Would Amazon kind of fall into this?
What do you mean, Amazon?
Like the big Amazon?
Yeah, Amazon would be part of it because that's commerce. So that's part that would fall under globalism.
Okay.
You know, Walmart, things like that, big.
Just because I know Amazon's like the hugest thing right now.
Yes, so that would fall under globalism because globalism deals with like the economy as well and things like that.
Yeah.
And people are fixated on those things. So those are the three main new gods. As the show goes on, they talk about a few others, so on and so forth. But my point is, it's in subtle ways, and you know, I started with them first because it might be easy for us to not deal those who are enlightened and dealing with repentance, to not worship Easter or some of these other ones that are out there. But don't fool yourself into thinking that there's not temptations out there for you in the form of idolatry,
right?
In how you maneuver in some of these things. So some of you, listen, some of you, your God is drugs. Some of you, your God is alcohol. Whatever the vice might be, that's your God.
Right. Whatever you give that time and attention to.
Whatever you give that time and attention to, like she said it's better than lamb's blood, that time and attention. Whatever you give your passions to in excess.
Right.
Right? Because Technology Boy said that as the new passions arise, the new gods arise. Those are the things that become those idols for you.
Right.
Idols in your heart. Right? And then they become something else. You look very pensive.
It's just heavy because it's like, I'm thinking about the people that say, oh, they don't believe in the Bible today because that's old. Guess what? This Bible is forever and ever. Amen. And it teaches us everything. It teaches us history. It's teaching us what's going to happen in the future. It's teaching us what's happening now. And some of us, we're heavy into that. We're guilty of that. Can I get a scripture?
Go ahead.
Do you have Ezekiel 14 in your notes?
That's where I was just going to go, but go ahead. You can bring it out.
Okay. 13. I'm sorry, Ezekiel 14:3.
That's where I was going to go. Go ahead, bring it out.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 14 and verse 3. Son of man, these men have set up their idols in their heart.
Where they have to set their idols?
Set up their idols in their heart.
Right, because you know what? That means that you don't, because you're not doing this with the phone and saying, oh, iPhone, oh, Android, right? And then you got those Android people that defend that Android like it's the one true God. Not more the Android people. Right. Repent. And you just because you're not doing this, but it's in your heart. Why? Because that's again, before you go to bed, when you wake up, it's your first thing.
Right.
Some people have no discipline to put this down.
But you look at Joshua 1:8. They can't pick the Bible up when they go to sleep or when they wake up.
Right. And it's not the same vigor, it's not the same zeal that's given to those things.
Exactly.
Were you going to give something different?
No.
And how you said that? Go ahead.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 14 and verse 3. Son of man, these men have set up their idols in their heart and put the stumbling block of their iniquity before their face.
And now it's a stumbling block to you. Now, like Officer Tobias was saying, you can't study, but now you're Instagramming, putting up pictures, liking, like. You're addicted to likes.
Right. Hey, so someone said anything we put over God's word is an idol. You know what? And yes, that's a very all-encompassing definition. But you got to name spirits.
Right.
Yes.
And that's just like, you know, like what I'm meaning is not a knock on you, servant of Yah, but that's not enough for people.
No.
You got to really point out like where their issues are, because to me that's almost like. If somebody were to use that, that's like a cop-out. That's why it says, like, you know, you have, like, everyone has their own sins, right? I think I had done the class on your own lust when the scripture says you're tempted of your own lust, right? Everybody has their own individual things that are excessive for them.
Right.
And sometimes, this also goes back to where it says there's not a man without sin. Right? If in 1 John, when you say, you know, if you say you have no sin, you fool yourself.
Right.
All of us fall into that.
And about naming the spirit, Paul tells you, I would have not known lust except the scripture says, do not covet. And he starts naming, like breaking it down and narrowing. Look, I battle with this. Because lust can be lust of anything. It's very vague. But he says, okay, now I'm coveting. I'm lusting and I covet my neighbor's wife.
Can I just add on to what you saying?
Go ahead.
Were you going to get verse 4?
Yeah, I was going to read down. I don't know where you want to go to.
Because verse 4 goes into why it's
verse
important
4.
to name it.
I was going to say go into verse 4, yep.
Should I be inquired of all by them? Therefore, speak unto them and say unto them, Thus saith the Lord God, every man of the house of Israel that setteth up his idols in his heart, and putteth the stumbling block of his iniquity.
So this goes back to what I'm saying when servant of Yah said, anything that takes you away from God. Yes, that's true. But you got to deal with the individual emphasis, the stumbling block of his iniquity. We have to be able, that's what makes the spirit seducing.
Right.
They're a stumbling block for us because we don't see them as an obstacle. That's the whole, think about the characteristics of a stumbling block. Break that down. When you stumble, right, it's an unexpected fall.
Right.
So it's an obstacle. It's a block that you can't see that'll trip you up. So that idolatry is very much there for us. It says of Israel in verse 4. Every man of the house of Israel that setteth up his idols in his heart and putteth the stumbling block of his iniquity before his face. Come on.
I, the Lord, will answer him that cometh according to the multitude of his idols.
Right, so everybody has a multitude of idols. All of us have individual things that are in front of us. And television, globalism, some of them, you have no choice but to partake in them.
Right.
So whether it's in earnest or in passiveness, you're basically in the midst of idolatry in that way.
And just to add, at the end it said the multitude of his idols. So if you don't take the time to actually identify each one of those idols, he said he's going to deal with you according to the multitude. So the more idols that you have, the more...
Yes, which is why it's so important that you identify them. Read on, though. Read down verse 5.
Verse 5. That I may take the house of Israel in their own heart, because they are all estranged from me through their idols.
And that goes into what's said, where anything that takes you away from God. So it says you're estranged from him through your idols. It's that much more difficult to stay close to the Most High, to stay close to Christ, when you can't identify those things. And those are the things that keep you from being, and think about it, man. So it's like, damn, I'm not doing my studies. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. And what's keeping you from it? Your phone, sports, different things like that. And it's not to say don't do those things. Don't watch movies. Don't, right? Again, some of those things, that's just part of life. Like, what are you gonna do? Live as a hermit and not partake in anything? If that's being righteous over much, if you get too crazy with it.
Right.
But you need to be able to have the conversation with yourself and sit down and realize, where is your focus? Where is really your motivation in these type of things? And not to seem hypocritical. I mean, we're on a medium that's seen as idolatry now, trying to get people. But what are we trying to do? We're trying to use that medium in righteousness at this point, right? So it's not necessarily, a negative thing. You take it for what it is.
Don't abuse it.
Use it, don't abuse it. And that's heavy that you bring it out. That's real important. Using the world and not abusing it. Because you have to be able to operate in these things. You have to be able to function in these things. Just don't let it become something where you have all these stumbling blocks and these idols in your heart. Was that all y'all had? You were going to say more on that.
Read the next verse.
Verse 6. Therefore, say unto the house of Israel, Thus saith the Lord God, Repent, and turn yourselves from your idols, and turn away your faces from all your abominations.
And how you do that, it's a process. It's not overnight. It's not right away, right? It's repent and turn yourself from your idols. It's when you start looking at the mirror, like the scripture says, you start looking at yourself in the Bible. What do I deal with? Dang, I'm addicted to, I don't know, pornography. I'm addicted to Facebook. I can't go with to a trip or go out without sharing my dinner, right? I'm just saying, but it's not. It's a process. It's a process. It's not a right away thing. And there was someone saying, Can we keep all 613 laws? Yes, we can, little by little. Once we start perfecting some of them.
We can and we will.
Yes.
Because that's what's going to be what governs the new world, the kingdom of heaven in earth as it is in heaven.
Right. One of the someone was saying, can we keep all 613? We keep all God's laws little by little. We start repenting. It's a process. It's not overnight.
Yep.
So that's all I got there.
All praises, all praises. All right, so that's the old guys, right? So I said, lies my pastor taught me. We're most certainly not going to get through everything. Let me start with the big one. Let me start with Easter, and then we'll work our way back, all right? Holy Week, the Passion of Christ. I got too much stuff. It's not. We're not gonna get it all. I get overzealous with this stuff.
It's better to be over.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I gotta do like a 4-hour radio show on some of these topics.
Right. Let's do it.
Nah, man, it's late for a lot of people that watch. It's late. He said, "Let's do it." Oh my goodness. Yeah. I mean, sometimes 2 hours feels like it's too much, but then I'm like,
it flies by.
It flies by too much. Look, we're already an hour in. Yeah, we got an hour left. All right, let's pull up. Did I have anything there for Easter? I know we had Ostara.
You got Lent. You want the video clip?
Hold on. No, not yet. I don't want that yet. I'm gonna do Easter first and go backwards. All right. So you know what I want to do first. And this is a good segue because we went over Ezekiel 14. We went over seducing spirits. Let's put the video clip from American Gods for Easter. Show you how some of you that tune in and you're just learning in this walk what you were worshiping, right? And whether you thought you were or not, whether you put a different reason in front of it or not. And for those of us that are repenting and are aware how obvious it is to keep Easter, that's where we give you that first part about the new gods and things like that, right? And maybe reinforce some newer brothers and sisters that are working and like, well, why can't I eat, the Easter meal the next day, right? Because maybe you like the Easter meal, Why can't I eat the Easter meal the next day? And guess what? This year, all praise to the Most High, we have a new moon on that day, so we have our own festivity. But, they be closing stuff and everything. I'm just like, gosh, man. Anyway, so this is a clip from the first season of American Gods. And Eostre or Ostara, and again, there's many other names that go behind it. You look at different fertility goddesses. Diana of the Ephesians is one. You had Hathor.
Ashtaroth.
Ashtaroth. The one with all the
breasts.
The breasts, which are like eggs, I guess, or whatever. The breasts, the eggs. Right, I say Diana. Known by many names. All right? So this is a clip that I thought was pretty heavy because it shows you how you still give the attention to these idols, right? This is how they're set up in your heart. All right? Go ahead.
Come here, sweet shadow. Allow me to impart some wisdom. There's far too many secret societies out there. They have no loyalty and no love. They range from barely competent to deeply dangerous.
You don't sound like one of us.
I'm not one of you.
Oh, yes, you are. You're as forgotten, and as unloved, and as unremembered as any of us.
I'm doing just fine. Happy Easter. Christ has risen. Hello, boys.
You were before these assholes were born. Until the day that Jesus Christ called out of it.
So, this is just a short excerpt of the episode. But like he walks in there and they got like every I don't think I saw a black Jesus though. But they got Chinese Jesus, they got freaking Scandinavian Jesus, they got
the hippie.
They got a hippie Jesus.
What are they calling people up in like in the Northwest? Hipster.
They got hipster Jesus.
Go back a little. So
right. They got all the Jesus. They got all the
Jesuses.
They got all the Jesuses.
Go back right there.
Yeah, go back a little bit. I don't know if they showed a Jake
I see like an Asian one.
You got black Jesus right there.
Where is he?
The right, straight ahead.
Right left to. He looks black with the halo.
And that's a misnomer because it's not black Jesus. Jesus is black.
That's right.
Right. So the rest of them are imposters. You got the representation of the real Jesus there, and then all the other imposters. But
you see the bunny and the egg.
Right. But what they really represent is Christianity to show you the BS behind Christianity. Right. It's not necessarily about the true Savior. Right. This is why I have Christ lowercase in the title. They they just representative of Christianity.
See the one on the very far left? Well, second.
Bro, that's not
left?
even all of them. Like when he's walking through the house in this episode, like you see Jesus is all over the place. You see Jesus all over the place. Dang.
That's the hipster right there. I'm telling you. Look, hair up. He has the hair up.
Yeah,
hipster
Jesus. Right. Yep, exactly. Hell no. All right, so go ahead. Go back. She said I'm doing just fine.
Crawled out of his stinky...
No, go back a little bit. Back a little bit. And then I'll be quiet. I'll try to.
Happy Easter. Christ has risen. Hello, boys.
You were before these assholes were born. Until the day that Jesus Christ crawled out of his stinky old grave, folks would paint eggs with dandelions and paprika for her to exchange as gifts at the first sign of spring in her name.
Stop. So what he's telling you, first of all, he's telling you Christianity's a new thing, right? This is a fabricated thing. He said until this guy came out of his stinky grave, right? They're talking about, again, remember, the emphasis here is that that's Christianity, right? But he's saying, notice that Christianity, the way Easter's celebrated today, they'll go to church to worship the hipster Jesus, and then they'll also do this stuff with the eggs. So he's letting you know the origin of that stuff, and that it was done in worship to this god, this old god, Eostre or Ostara.
Before what they were doing before he came along.
Before they made Christianity a new religion.
Yes.
Right? Because that's basically what that's going into. So just a few seconds back, I see you excited with a scripture. Let's finish the clip, then you can bring it out. All right.
Exchange as gifts at the first sign of spring in her name. Ostara.
They still do. They still do. On my festival days, they still feast on eggs and rabbit and candy, and they do it in my name.
Stop. See, she said, listen, they still do it.
Right.
Straight up telling you, they still feast on eggs and they do rabbits and candy in my name.
Right.
It's named after her. It's called Easter. So it says it's still done in my name. But then listen to what his retort is from the power perspective. And this is what puts many of us to sleep in thinking that it's not idolatry. Go ahead.
They do it in my name.
Serious question, my dear. I've no doubt that millions upon millions exchange tokens and observe the rituals of your festival, all down to the hunting of the hidden eggs. But does anybody pray in your name? Do they say it in worship? Oh, they mouth your name. But they've no idea what it means. None whatsoever. Same every spring. You do all the work, he gets all the prayers.
What has gotten into you?
I feel terrible about this.
No.
It's her day. You took it. You crucified her day. When they started following you, everybody else got burned. In your name. Happy fucking Easter!
So you heard what he said. He said, but they don't pray to you. In your name.
Right.
They don't worship you in your name.
They mention it, but they don't know what it means.
Right. But she still had a measure of power in that, like, because you'll see later in the episode where she, like, blights, like, the whole area that she's in because she was the goddess of spring. So they prayed and they worshiped to her. He said, yep, they keep it right down to hunting for the Easter eggs. And it says, so,
and he mentioned rituals. He mentioned how the rituals they do in her name. That's heavy.
That's when we read in 1 Timothy 4, the seducing spirit seduces you by the Caesar bowl, which you're really praying to Easter.
Yeah. He says he gets all the prayers, so he's what's in the forefront.
Right.
But what it's letting you know is that stumbling block for people, right? So you think that you're doing it. I mean, they're both Easter and hipster Jesus is all full of crap. That's Christianity.
Right.
But people will justify their behavior of Easter and saying that it's about Christ, but yet then they'll go ahead and
do the rituals.
And even if they don't do the Easter bunny, they'll still do the eggs. They'll still do the other. They'll still do the other rituals that deal with it.
That deals with Asterisk.
Right. Right. So wait. First, I want to go to the one from the show. All right. Bring that one back. Vulture article. Okay. And then you can scroll down to her. Eostre is there. There we go. So that's the clip where she lets her hair down and shows some of her power, right? So her name was Ostara or Eostre, right? And the character's name was Easter. The last stop on Mr. Wednesday and Shadow Season 1 road trip takes place on Easter Sunday at a charming country estate in Kentucky. The hostess is fond of bunnies and pastel shades, but she isn't the goddess of Easter. Not exactly, anyway. She is Eostre, the goddess of the spring and the dawn. She brings renewal and growth. She also, according to some legends, can resurrect the dead. Eostre is an ancient Germanic goddess who's been saved from oblivion by associating herself with the Christian holiday. So within Christianity, there is a lot of paganism, there is a lot of idolatry, Catholicism being the chief offender. There's a book called The Two Babylons.
Right.
And it goes into the parallels with that, and the media machine and the publicist of the Catholic Church. They've done a brainwashing number of any members that ever bring that up to them. And there's a whole dialogue that they have to try to refute it, but it's quite obvious where all the symbolism and stuff, and it comes from it goes back even further than what we're seeing. It goes back to like ancient Babylonian type of customs and things like that. So it says, Eostre is an ancient Germanic goddess who's been saved from oblivion by associating herself with the Christian holiday, which perhaps explains why the majority of guests at her Easter brunch are different versions of Jesus. It seems that at some point over the past several hundred years, Eostre, like Vulcan, made a deal with the new gods to stay relevant as belief in the ancient gods faded away. As media puts it, it's religious Darwinism, adapt and survive. So letting you know those seducing spirits, some of them are not new. Technology's new, globalism, media, but a lot of these other ones are old spirits that have just taken on a new outfit, a new name in some respects.
Okay.
He says adapt and survive. And that's basically what she's done there in that, right? Like in showing herself in that.
Can I get a script?
Yep.
Psalm 64. Psalm 64 and verse 6. We got a camp video coming out either tomorrow or Friday where Officer Nehemiah is teaching a brother, and he's so stubborn about the Council of Nicaea and how, was it Constantine?
Mm-hmm.
Constantine wrote the Bible, and he's emotional about it. And then he starts calling Officer Nehemiah a clown because Officer Nehemiah ain't, he's like, prove it, bro. Prove it. And this brother can't prove it. He's just speaking. Doesn't prove nothing. Doesn't have no facts to back it up, right? And he just starts being emotional about it. The thing is, that's where this comes from, brother. And any brothers and sisters that you guys are watching, if you don't know and you think, oh, Christianity or the Bible is mixed, or it was written by Constantine or the Council of Nicaea, guess what? They used it because their gods were dying. All the Jews were repenting, coming back to Christ. They said, we're losing our followers, so let's mix our stuff together so we won't lose our followers, just like what they're doing here in American Gods. Yep. So give me Isaiah 64.
The book, you want Psalms?
Yes, Psalms, sorry.
The book of Psalms, chapter 64 and verse 6. They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search.
Mm-hmm.
Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep.
Uh-huh.
But God shall shoot at them with an arrow. Suddenly shall they be wounded.
So it says they search out iniquities. How do they do this? They go and they search out ancient hieroglyphs. They search out ancient cities where our people or heathen other nations would worship their gods, and they said, let's bring it to America. Let's intermingle it to the American society today. But it says God will shoot at them with arrow. Suddenly shall they be wounded. God is going to shoot at them with the truth. We are that arrow. We are that bow. Like you read it, I believe in Zechariah. Go ahead.
Or even them nukes.
Yes.
When he destroys all these idols.
And another way he's going to shoot at them is verse 8.
Verse 8. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves.
Mm-hmm.
All that see them shall flee away.
Guess what? They're telling on themselves. That's how God is shooting at them. For them to uncover their own lies, and our people can start waking up. And our people are doing it today. That's why you have Christian groups talking about, oh, the white man's is, Christianity is not the white man's religion. Let's make a project. Jude chapter 3. We need to prove that Christianity is not white man's religion. It comes from Africa. There's Christianity and African roots. No, stop.
Hey, and you know what they're doing too? A lot of these apologists and these people that are trying to justify their white man's religion, they're specifically trying to find so-called black faces that are apologists to do the talking now.
Mm.
If you notice, the ones that are doing more videos and doing stuff, they're doing the trick baby.
Damn.
And they're trying to put the faces up there that look like us, right? But they speak like our oppressors, right? That's that Matrix, like it was on the show that we went over that, right? Yeah, it was on the show where I brought up that scene from the Matrix. And so he said, remember what he says, they'll
They're
even
carpenters,
fight.
they're
They'll
police.
fight to defend it. They're pastors.
Yes.
And they'll find them and they'll have them speak to you and try to speak against this. And then now it's supposed to disarm you a little bit, because if it was coming from a white person defending the white man's religion, then they're like, damn, some people aren't going to receive that. But if they're doing it, if they see a face that's like ours, then maybe they'll be more receptive to that. And that's nothing new. They've always, I mean, you had Jason that they try to come after, right? Jason, the ungodly wretch, it talks about. And they always try to persuade, you know, Mattathias, I had brought it out when he was talking about, like, you know, we're not going to leave our religion.
Right.
So look, everybody else did. So they try to get somebody. If they can't get somebody from within, they try to at least get somebody that looks like you to try to infiltrate.
They said Eliezer. They said, "Hey, Eliezer, bring your own meat."
Yeah. Oh, okay. He got the scene trick baby. Yeah. Let's play. It's always good to play that thing, and it's short too. Let's play it. This is what I mean. If you don't know what I'm talking about, listeners, this is an old movie. All right, called Trick Baby. Before I was born. I was born 77. Oh yeah. Before I was born. It goes into what I'm saying now, like the agenda that you see with where they're trying to do these like Jude 3 and different documentaries, and they're putting our people's faces, people that look like us, right, in front of that. Go ahead.
It's you liberals who have lifted them up, Howard.
Paul, you conservatives make a mistake. You can't afford to strangle hope in people. Without hope, people become dangerous.
No, Howard. You liberals have let them invade our society. You give them jobs, political jobs.
Oh, you missed
Stop. So he tells him, he says, you can't destroy their hope.
Right.
He says, without hope, they become dangerous.
Right.
A wise man, oppression maketh a wise man
Oppression
mad.
maketh a wise man mad, right? And a gift destroyeth the heart. So they give you this illusion of inclusion. They give you this false hope. No, it's not a white man's religion. No, we'll take you in. Yes, look, see, all people are welcome in our religion. They're not letting us in theirs.
Right.
That's not right.
Right.
We're inclusive. So on and so forth. And it gives them a sense of hope that, oh, listen, they're accepting of me. They're going to pull me in. They're, you know, I can get the jobs that I couldn't get before. I can be amongst them. I can, you know, I can marry them. I can have children with them.
The illusion of inclusion.
That illusion of inclusion, right? And he's letting you know that that's a mechanism, that's a cost that they've calculated, that they've manipulated into the crafty council. Let me tell you, that has probably done more damage, and they realize it, this illusion of inclusion, than anything that they did outright against us. Because then it gets harder to see who your enemy is.
Right.
So when your vision is clouded, you don't know where to direct your defense to, where to direct your attack to.
Right.
So they blur the lines just enough that you have many of our people confused in this, right? Go ahead.
It's only the smart ones we move up.
That makes it even worse.
No, you know, we have to move them up. If we leave a smart one in the ghetto, he might develop into a leader against us.
Stop.
But
So you
if
see
we
that? He says it's only the smart ones we raise up.
That's heavy.
They target certain ones. And notice how they do that. Like scholarships, they try to, that's a way for them to what do you think? They did scholarships and stuff like that, like ethnic scholarships, because they wanted to help you?
Just because?
They wanted to identify who the smart ones were to fast track them through their education system.
Give them enough to get them out the hood.
Get them enough to get them out the hood and program them in the American way. Right? Into the norms of society.
So he can forget his roots.
Right.
He or she, because it could be a lot of our sisters are the ones that are be like, well, I don't need a man. I got a degree.
Right.
Right? So it could be he or she, and forget about your roots, forget where you come from. This is your way of life now.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, play it.
Raise him up into white society, we neutralize it.
Damn,
He
and
feels
bro,
compelled.
and they saying this all in front of her, bro. Just
Not giving a damn.
nope. Go
Not
ahead.
giving a damn.
To try to act like us. He loses his identity and his racial anger, if he has any. He becomes alien to his brothers. They realize he sold them out, and they grow to hate him. He becomes worthless to them and safe for us. No, thank you.
Damn,
In
you hear that?
fact, in his-
Break their
It
bands
says
or
when you're
something.
sleeping with the enemy, when you're chasing after those ideals, it says he becomes worthless to them and safe for us. We've neutralized it.
Dang.
Now you can't attack us. And he said you're worthless to your people when you chase after this type
And he says
of lifestyle, this type of assimilation.
He says they're safe to us. They know we're a threat, man.
Yes.
They know we're a threat when
Yes.
we gather together
Yep.
and we work as unity.
Right, and gather together in God's agenda.
Right.
Not just, because if you gather
Right,
together
right.
in
Thank you.
their agenda, then, you're safe for them.
Right.
Right.
When
exactly.
we gather together under God's laws as the Israelites, right?
Yep.
We're a threat, man.
Yep.
They're scared.
Yep.
They're scared. Why? Because they know their time is short. They know they must pay for what they did to God's chosen people, man.
Yep. Play the rest.
His love for the creature comforts, except for his color, he's become one of us.
Hear that?
Right.
He said, for all intents and purposes. Yeah, play that last part.
Except for his color,
Go back a little
Go back a
more.
little more.
and they grow to hate him. He becomes worthless to them and safe for us. No, thank you. In fact, in his love for the creature comforts, except for his color, he's become one of us.
The creature comforts is their lust. Every man with his own lust in his heart. He says, in his what was the word he used for creature comforts? Go back.
Creature comforts, except for his color,
Go back.
he's become and safe for us. They realize he sold them out, and they grow to hate him. He becomes worthless to them and safe for us. No, thank you. In fact, in his love for the creature comforts,
You see that he said in his love. You can easily replace that word with his lust.
Yep.
For the creature comforts, right? He's become one of us, except for his color.
A gift destroyed the heart. That's what it is.
That's a chocolate-covered Edomite.
Right.
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 And it says, and he hates. So his love for the creature comforts, and then something about his skin. Go back a little bit. Go back. Captain Gedaliah did a very powerful classes about who taught you to hate yourself. Go ahead.
he sold them out, and they grow to hate him. He becomes worthless to them and safe for us. No, thank you. In fact, in his love for the creature comforts, except for his color, he's become one of us.
Right there, and except for his color. That's
Right.
a heavy point,
Right.
man.
And nowadays we understand, right, because we've gone over this before. This was in 1974, so they're going through color. We've grown and evolved in understanding over the years, so we know what's up as far as they've decided to say, okay, let's drive a wedge between appearance of the Israelites as well, and try to say that they're not the same people.
Right.
And then remember, I've gone over this before, so you got some people that'll say, well, I'm not in this seeking these creature comforts, but then they're out there thinking that they're hindering the gathering together of the two sticks into one, and all they're doing is basically spewing out the same things that Trick Baby accomplished,
right?
Where they deal with it in that way, meaning you're here saying, oh well, those Latinos aren't our people, they're they're heathen, they're Goyim, all this other stuff. But then again, I ask you, where are your works? What are you doing? What have you done to unite your people?
Right,
and not just on the internet,
right.
Where are your sanctuaries? Where are your teachings? Where are you providing and have programs in place to educate the children and lift them up? If the internet turned off tomorrow, what do those people have?
Right, nothing.
Nothing.
To show for it.
Right, nothing.
Hey, and you know what's one more heavy thing about this? At the beginning, they're saying you liberals, what's the other one? He says you liberals.
Yes, they were trying to talk about liberals and conservatives.
You
but they're all in
conservatives,
cahoots.
right? That's what I want to say. Both, whether it's left right? Blue, red, donkey. What's the other one? Elephant. Guess what? They're the same thing. They're having dinner together, plotting against you, man.
Right. Hey, yeah, someone said most of these dark skin hating Jakes dark as hell, but they eat, so let that say. Yeah, they exactly what he just said at the end of Trick Baby.
Right.
Except for their color, they're like us.
Right.
So it's the same thing. You're gonna spew that type of hate, you're gonna spew that type of rhetoric. That's old news, man. The mere fact that you got the time to jump on somebody else's show to talk smack goes to show that you ain't doing nothing for your people.
You got nothing to do.
Bro, be quiet. Go away. It's like a fly. You got to shoot. You want to bring something out?
Yeah, can I get a script?
Yeah, go ahead.
Get Wisdom of Solomon 13:1. Because this literally goes into what you just brought out. You were talking about where are their works, right?
Yeah.
And then a lot of times when they see the works that the Most High has allowed us to do it at Israel United in Christ, go to read.
The book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 13, verse 1. Surely, vain are all men by nature.
All men by nature are vain. We are vain naturally, carnally minded. Read.
Who are ignorant of God.
Men are naturally ignorant of God, God's ability, what God does, right? Read.
And could not out of the good things that are seen.
That are what?
That are seen.
These are good things that are seen. You've seen an establishment that's built that is teaching God's laws and doctrine the proper way. Read.
That are seen, know him that is.
But they see these things, but they don't know him that is. Read.
Neither by considering the works did they acknowledge the workmaster.
They didn't take the time to consider the works that were put in through the faith that men had to establish this foundation. They didn't consider those works to acknowledge who?
To acknowledge the workmaster.
The acknowledgement of the workmaster is acknowledging God's hand in the building of all of this. God labors right with us. Read.
But deemed either fire.
No, that's it. That's it.
Okay.
Right. All praise to the Most High. Hey, so let me jump into this a little more because I don't want to let knuckleheads take us away from the show. And moderators got to moderate the chat. You gotta get Blaconda going. Hold on, let me pull these links up. Ooh, I want to get this up.
We're going back to the.
Let me get this up.
The American Gods.
No.
Or the Wikios.
Yes. Let's read about A.L. Stray in the wiki. That's what we had to bring up. So we just went, we saw A.L. Stray. And you read a little bit about it here. It's Old English, right? A Northumbrian dialect, a Mercian dialect, and West Saxon dialect, all right? Old High German, Ostara, right? So he called her Ostara in the show. Her character line name is known as Eostre, all right? Easter, basically. By way of the Germanic month bearing her name, all right? She is the namesake of the festival of Easter in some languages. Eostre is attested solely by Bede in his 8th century work, The Reckoning of Time, where Bede states that during Eostrumnap, the equivalent of April, pagan Anglo-Saxons had held feast in Eostre's honor, but that this tradition had died out by his time, replaced by the Christian Paschal month, a celebration of the resurrection of Jesus. All right. So this is what you just saw in the show. I'm not going to go too much into that. I just wanted to bring that part out if you were curious and wanted to look that up. Let's go to theories right there. Okay. Theories connecting Eostre with records of... No, you were right there. I was reading it. No, scroll up. It was right there. Sorry. I mean, you already had it there. Go up, right there. Just that last paragraph. Thank you. Theories connecting Eostre with records of Germanic Easter customs, including hares and eggs, have been proposed. Hares meaning rabbits and eggs, particularly prior to discovery of the matrone. I'm not going to say that right. And further developments in Indo-European studies. Debate has occurred among some scholars about whether or not the goddess was an invention of Bede. Eostre and Ostara are sometimes referenced in modern popular culture and are venerated in some forms of Germanic neo-paganism. I'm letting you know that it actually goes back further, than Ostara. Right, going back to, like I said, Diana of the Ephesians, going back to ancient Egyptian goddesses of fertility and so on and so forth. So it actually goes back a lot further than that. So one of the things I wanted to pull up, gosh, there was so much. I'm not even nearly close to getting through all of this stuff. Well, I mentioned Holy Week, right? One of the things I want to show you is Holy Week. Let's pull up the one that says Holy Week in Spain. Yeah, all right. Because this goes with what I think I brought this out in the class Saturday. With Revelation 13, I think 7 and 8. And remember, during the Spanish Inquisition, Spain and Portugal, they were forcing Christianity on our people, right? They came up with this hipster Jesus, right? This false white Jesus. And this says Holy Week in Spain is the annual tribute of the Passion of Jesus Christ. So Holy Week all around the world is celebrated different. In so-called Latin countries, it's Semana Santa. Everybody gets all into it. And then they have all these customs that have nothing to do with anything biblical. Like, you don't read any of this stuff biblically. And it says the annual tribute of the Passion of Jesus Christ, celebrated by Catholic religious brotherhoods. They perform penance processions on the streets of almost every Spanish city and town during the last week of Lent. And I believe Bishop Nathaniel, when he was going over this stuff, he had brought out in some of the books about the Capriotes, right? So go on the picture. You can expand it. And that's, so you have, like, makes you think of the Ku Klux Klan when they come out with this. So supposedly this is like, so it's not a white man's religion. I mean,
come on,
look at this.
What's that? Come on,
look
man.
at it. So they wear this, and it's supposed to be a sign of them being penitent and taking attention away. That literally it says it's supposed to take attention away from themselves.
Right. Opposite.
But it does the opposite. It adds attention to themselves.
Bruh.
As they wear this stuff. And people have told them, listen, it's offensive. It represents this. That's like in with Swastika Pete.
Yes.
Right. Where they do it. Black Pete.
Yep.
So that's Holy Week. And then Holy Week deals with, like, prior to that, there's Lent. I'm trying to speed through it because we're not going to get through all of it the way I want to. But one of the things I wanted to bring out was that all this stuff comes from what they call, like, theology, right? And they have their theology schools, and they bring this stuff out, right? So let's go to the theology page. Let's go to theology. All right, theology.
Zoom it in one.
And Tobias, read that for me because my heartburn's bothering me, bro. I gotta save my bullets.
Theology is the systematic study of the nature of the divine and, more broadly, of religious belief.
Right. So they say it's a study. It's a systematic study of nature. So you have people who go to theology school and you're thinking it's biblical,
right?
But
that's what you would think.
It's not really getting into that, right? So go ahead. Theology is the study.
Theology is where we at?
Study.
The systematic study. From the beginning.
Theology is the systematic study of the nature of the divine and, more broadly, of religious belief.
Come on.
It is taught as an academic discipline, typically in universities and seminaries.
All right, we'll deal with seminary in a moment. Go ahead.
It occupies itself with the unique content of analyzing the supernatural, but also deals with religious epistemology. Asks and seeks to answer the question of revelation. Revelation pertains to the acceptance of God, gods, or deities, as not only transcendent or above the natural world, but also willing and able to interact with the natural world and, in particular, to reveal themselves to humankind.
So it's letting you know that they focus on that aspect of it because that's what helps them create their agendas on how they can manipulate the people with their false religions.
So that's when they had, like, Officer Gabar say Jesus, Jesus, Jesus,
yes,
Jesus,
so
Jesus,
they're like,
Jesus.
yeah, basically if you create this mysticism to it, you'll have more sway over them, right? That's really what it's going into. Go ahead.
While theology has turned into a secular field, according to whom? Religious adherents still consider theology to be a discipline that helps them live and understand concepts such as life and love, and that helps them lead lives of obedience to the deities they follow or worship.
Right. So we'll deal with seminary in a moment. Keep reading.
Theologians use various forms of analysis and argument, experiential.
See, this is why they're always trying to debate with all their theology degrees and everything like that, because they're taught that in theology school, in universities. Right. Listen, it says they teach them various forms of analysis and argument. Right. But they play on people who are superstitious, who are into mysticism. Right. So when you're studying, you're grounded in the scriptures. This is why they're not able to debate you. Right? Go ahead, read.
Experiential, philosophical, ethnographic, historical, and others.
Hey, that reminds me, Bishop posted a meme the other day. Damn, it'll take me too long to dig for it. I'm going to paraphrase it, and I forgot who it was. And he said something to the effect of basically, if you don't really understand the Bible, I'm not debating you, I'm teaching you.
Right. That's heavy.
Right? So it is not really a debate. I don't debate people, I teach people.
Right.
And there's a difference. And that's what you see time and time again. And this is why once in a while we've done some debates, once in a while we've put some things together like that, but we don't roll that way just based off of that. I want to see if I can find it because I want to read the exact thing that he posted.
That's a sober mind right there.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to know how to interact with those you encounter.
Yep.
That's heavy.
Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Okay. That's what it says. All right, so it's Dr. John Henrik Clark. It says, I only debate with my equals. All others I teach. So if you're not on the same level in this Bible, it's not a debate.
We got nothing to talk about.
You being taught.
Right.
There's no debate. You say, oh, let me come at you with that. So theologians, that's what they come up with, right? Forms of analysis and argument. Go ahead.
Theologians use various forms of analysis and argument, experiential, philosophical, ethnographic, historical, and others to help understand, explain, test, critique, defend, or promote any myriad of religious topics. And as in philosophy of ethics and case law, arguments often assume the existence of previously resolved questions and develop by making analogies from them to draw new inferences in new situations.
So the point is that they're trained to be a theology degree doesn't mean that they understand the Bible more.
Right.
It means that they're just trained to try to argue with people. And they try to do it from a perspective that makes them seem educated about how they do it. Right. So they razzle-dazzle those who don't really have any type of foundation.
Exegesis.
Right, exegesis, right? So notice they said philosophical. How is that theology when it deals with philosophy? Go ahead. Let's bring this real quick. Read philosophy.
Where's it at? Okay.
Right there.
No, bring it up. Open it. I think I had sent it. Philosophy. Click it. I thought I had sent it as a link. If not, just open it. That's fine. Go ahead.
Philosophy. From Greek, love of wisdom, is the study of general and fundamental questions such as those about existence, reason, knowledge, values, mind, and language. Such questions are often posed as problems to be studied or resolved. Some sources claim the term was coined by Pythagoras, 570 to 495 BCE. Others dispute this history, arguing that Pythagoreans merely claimed use of a...
Jump to where it says historically.
Historically, philosophy encompassed all bodies of knowledge, and a particular was known as a philosopher.
So a practitioner was known as a philosopher. Come on.
From the time of ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle to the 19th century, natural philosophy encompassed astronomy, medicine, and physics.
So you see, so they teach them this stuff in theology school to try to, so that they can argue and try to critique, and they deal with philosophical. So the thing is, it makes them sound like they know what they're doing. It makes them sound like they can pose that's why a lot of them will come to you and they'll give you questions that really have no sway. They'll try to give you like, well, you know, the God in the Bible commanded people to kill people. Is that right?
Right.
Because that's a philosophical thing. That's not because a biblical thing is it is right if it comes from God.
Right.
But they'll come and they'll pose questions like that. Well, the God of the Bible, you know, that's why they won't say that he kills babies. They'll say, oh, but the devil kills babies. They'll come with questions like that to try to trip you up. And those are philosophy based. They're not biblically based. Because biblically based, the answer's plain. It is what the scriptures say and what the Most High says. Right. As far as that goes. So notice it includes sections of philosophy. Go down so you can see some of these philosophers. I think there's a picture there. Right. Plato, Kant, Nietzsche, Buddha, Confucius, Averroes. So confusion.
Right.
Yeah.
Confusion. And that's part of what's taught in theology school as well. Go to seminary. And then I got a few scriptures. Go ahead. Seminary.
Seminary. A seminary, school of theology, theological seminary, or divinity school is an educational institution for educating students, sometimes called seminarians. In Scripture, theology generally to prepare them for ordination to serve as clergy, and academics are mostly in Christian ministry.
Right. So really that tract, even in seminary, is for them to have some sort of body that ordains them to do something, right? And to work in academics, right? And it's mostly dealing with that Christian ministry. Come on.
The English word is taken from the Latin seminarium, translated as seed, bed, an image taken from the Council of Trent. Document Cum Adolescentum.
Cum Adolescentium Edus, which called for the first modern seminary. So letting you know that seminary is uniquely Catholic. So even though they came out with all these different denominations later, seminary schools was a result of the Catholics getting together, and we're going to read that when we go into the history, to counteract the Protestant Reformation. All right? So it wasn't like this is, but letting you know that it's not biblical. When they try to impress you with seminary and theology degrees and all this, oh, I went to seminary and this, that, and the other, you don't see seminary in the Bible.
Right.
That's a man-made Christian thing, and it was done to counteract the denominations that were coming out against Catholicism at the time. All right? Because there was no Protestant, there was no Lutheran, and none of that stuff. It was Catholicism. That was the form of Christianity.
Right.
Like people today, they're not in Catholicism. They're all in these different denominations of Christianity. So they presume that it's something different.
Right.
Right. The mother of all Christianity, the father of all Christianity is Catholicism.
Right.
Right. So go ahead, read history. Where it says history. There we go.
History. The establishment of modern seminaries resulted from Roman Catholic reforms of the Counter-Reformation.
Click on that, the Counter-Reformation. Just highlight it. Yeah. When you hover over, is it not popping up when you hover?
No,
All right,
it's not.
you could click on it real quick. We'll just read the beginning of that, what the Counter-Reformation was. And then we're going to come back. Go ahead.
The Counter-Reformation, Latin, also called the Catholic Reformation, or the Catholic Revival, was the period of Catholic resurgence that was initiated response to the Protestant Reformation, also known as the Protestant Revolution. It began with the Council of Trent and largely ended with the conclusion of the European wars of religion.
Right. So the Council of Trent, meaning seminaries came about in the 1500s, and it was a tactic to kind of counteract the Protestant Reformation, showing you that their tactics have not changed, because now Israelites are in the earth. Our people, your eyes are seeing your teachers, right? And they're seeing that it's a problem. So they're pushing now. It was Catholicism then. Now they have these apologists in their pockets, and they say, you guys are going to go out. We're going to put their faces out there, and we're going to deal like we did in the Counter-Reformation. Because when you reform something, right, that also goes into like redeeming, changing, taking back what was ours. So they see that we're teaching our people. They see that we're waking people up. So they're trying to throw out these seminary people. They're trying to throw out these theologians, these so-called people that supposedly are learned, and they're not. All right, it comes from that, and it's a new thing. Go back.
It said European war of religion.
Right,
there's a war going on.
Well, there was wars when all these different denominations came out.
Yes.
Catholicism was the one religion that was Christianity. That was it. A lot of Christian denominations, they don't like to acknowledge their Catholic birth, their Catholic roots, and where it came from. They'll talk about their, there's just so many of them. I can't even remember all of them. Protestant, what's the other one? Pentecostal, all, Lutheran. All these different ones, evangelical, Jehovah's Witness, all that stuff, they're all offshoots of Catholicism, all right? That was the first Christianity.
If you worship Caesar Bo, guess what? You're Catholic. Whether it's Christian, Protestant, Lutheran, Baptist, if he's white, it ain't right.
Right. Go ahead. Read history from the top again.
The establishment of modern seminaries resulted from Roman Catholic reforms of the Counter-Reformation after the Council of Trent.
Highlight Council of Trent. See if it pops up. Just hover. Okay, read that.
The Council of Trent, held between 1545 and 1563 in Trent, was the 19th ecumenical council of the Catholic Church, prompted by the Protestant Reformation. It has been described as the embodiment of the Counter-Reformation.
So that was where they made the playbook on how all Christianity now tries to debate largely the Israelites in these last, you know, it used to be debating against, you know, the Protestant Reformation and all that, but then that kind of took hold with different denominations, and now they take those tactics and they use them. So it's very systematic, like we read when they come with this. So it's all the same. So they're very easy to dissect and deal with because they try to make it seem like we are, like 10 things you need to know before engaging Hebrew Israelites and things like that, because they believe that that's it, like that's the basis of our doctrine. They don't realize that from front to end, right, we're able to try. They'll buy our precept book and they think they're getting some inside information. That's like buying like a sophisticated weapon and not knowing where the trigger is, where the ammo is, how to clean it, how to even unpackage it.
Right.
So they, you know, they'll buy the precept book and they think they got our understanding.
We got the insight.
They think they know the doctrine.
Ooh, look!
But again,
the roadmap.
because this is how it's trick baby.
Right.
This is how they were trained. This is how they were set up. So it's very easy to deal with them and dissect their BS, which is why we're not running around engaging them in those type of things.
Right.
Going back to the quote, I only debate my equals, others I teach.
Right.
Damn.
That's heavy.
Bishop Nathaniel's been going in on the Shout Out Tuesdays on Christianity, hard body.
Yep.
He ain't gonna debate none of them. He don't need to.
Right. Why would you?
Right.
What is answer not a fool lest thou be made?
They're not his equals. They don't know the scripture. Like they try to razzle dazzle you with that theology and that seminary, and that's all BS.
The big words.
Right, the big words, right? Exegesis, right? All these different types of things. Good. Finish reading the history.
You want? Where are we at the top?
The Tridentine.
The Tridentine seminaries placed great emphasis on personal discipline as well as the teaching of philosophy as a preparation for theology.
So notice the early foundation of seminaries, right, had nothing to do with the Bible, had nothing to do with even. They said you must teach philosophy as preparation for theology. So theology is just a bastard version of philosophy.
So their foundation
where
was...
they try to make it about religion and make you feel like it's something where they have understanding of the Bible. And they don't. All right, go ahead.
In the United States, Protestant institutions widely adopted the term seminary for independent graduate schools separate from a university to train its ministers. The oldest seminary in the United States was Andover Theological Seminary, founded in 1807 and affiliated with the Congregationalist Church.
Right. So I just wanted to show you and bring that out to you so you can see how they try to approach us, how they come up with stuff, right? I'm not going to get to, I was going to break down Holy Week and the BS and all the days, but let me just give you some of these scriptures that I had here. Let's get Isaiah 29 and 9, because as I'm reading about theology, this is what pops into my head, man. I said, golly.
So their foundation is not the Bible. Their foundation is philosophy.
Their foundation is philosophy. It's not the Bible. Their foundation. So when somebody tries to impress you that they, when I was in theology or when I was in seminary or whatever religious program where they got some certificate and this, that, and the other, that don't let them. Don't let your eyes go wide with that.
Right.
There's no understanding there. And the Bible tells you that. Come on.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 29 and verse 9. Stay yourselves and wonder. Cry ye out and cry. They are drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink.
Why? Because of this philosophy, this confusion. We're drunken in stupidness. We're drunken in false doctrines, in man-made traditions, right? Come on.
For the Lord hath poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep.
Ooh, most of us is sleep. And because of vanity and pride, we can't acknowledge it. Those of us who have been able to repent, it's because there was an ability to acknowledge that what you knew was not right.
Right.
Rather than try to hold on to those old ideals. Come on.
And hath closed your eyes.
And we got to understand that God put us to sleep. So it's only God that can really open those eyes. Come on.
The prophets and your rulers, the seers, hath he covered.
Let me get Romans 11 and 7. We're going to do 7 through 10.
Romans 11.
Someone said it would be better for a Christian to be present to defend Christian doctrine. Christian doctrine's dissected all the time.
Right.
They can't stand toe-to-toe. That's the whole point of what we're bringing out right now.
They don't know their own doctrine.
Like, let me read the line again. We only debate equals.
Right.
Everybody else we teach. So no Christian's going to be able to defend their doctrine because they don't even understand their doctrine.
Bring it out.
That's what we're bringing out right here. Because the Lord has poured out a spirit of deep sleep on. verse 9 again before we go to Romans 11.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 29 and verse 9. Stay yourselves and wonder. Cry ye out and cry. They are drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink.
Christianity has had their go. It's high time that God's prophets stand up and bring things out. Christianity has had the platform for thousands of years.
Mm-hmm.
We get a Christian to come and try to defend their doctrine. They can't. They in deep sleep. They are drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink. Because they're learning from philosophers. Not people, not men of God that understand these scriptures. I'm going to continue to show you that. Let me get Romans 11 and 7.
The book of Romans, chapter 11 and verse 7. What then? Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election hath obtained it, and the rest were blinded.
Right. So you have to understand when it's dealing with that blinded, he's talking about Israel here. He says, Israel have not obtained that which he seeketh for. There's so many of our people, a zeal of God, but not according to knowledge, seeking after these Christian lies and these different denominations and all of that, right? And it says they have not obtained, but the election have obtained it, because there's a set number that's sealed in each regeneration. And it says they have obtained it because God's the one that's going to open their eyes. And what does he say about the rest?
According as
for the end of verse 7.
Oh, and the rest were blinded.
And the rest were blinded. The rest were blinded. I have a little letter next to mine that it says they were hardened. So no, hell no, we ain't going to debate no Christian. Hell no, you don't get no platform to defend yourself. Because if you're holding on to that and you're not able to open up, then you're not part of that elect. You're part of those that are blinded.
That's right.
Read verse 8.
Verse 8. According as it is written, God hath given them the spirit of slumber, eyes that they should not see, and ears that they should not hear, unto this day.
That's what we just read in Isaiah 29 and 10.
Right.
It says, you have to understand something. You're trying to kick against the pricks. It says, God, according as it is written, God has given a portion of Israel that's not the elect, the spirit of slumber, eyes that they should not see and ears that they should not hear. Meaning, though it's physically there, they can't understand what's being brought out in the scriptures. Come on.
And David saith, let their table be made a snare.
That's Christianity. That's the Council of Trent. That's theology schools. That's seminary schools. Their table is dealing with this Bible. So it says, let their Bible, let their table, let their Bible be a snare to them. Why? Because you're going to think it's the white man's religion. You're going to be taught Christianity.
Right.
You're going to be taught Protestantism, Catholicism, all types of madness. So it says their own Bible will be a snare to them. Come on.
And a trap. And a stumbling block.
And it'll be a stumbling block. Come on.
And a recompense unto them.
Come on.
Let their eyes be darkened, that they may not see, and bow down their back always.
Right, so there ain't no reason to debate some people because their eyes are going to be darkened and bowed down always. Let's go back to Isaiah 29.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 29 and verse 10. For the Lord hath poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep, and hath closed your eyes. The prophets and your rulers, the seers, hath he covered.
Meaning, those people where it says thine eyes shall see thine teachers, right? Those people who see them are the ones who accept them. It's not just seeing us teaching. It's the ones who will accept them, say, I see what you're saying, and they'll start to repent and change their lives as Israelites. When it says the prophets, your rulers, and your seers have he covered, right? In these last days, those prophets are here. So it's letting you know that you're just not going to be able to hear them. You're not going to be able to receive it. There's certain people that, there's no magic script.
You're not going to get it.
Our job is to plant and water, and God gives the increase, like the Bible says. That's all we do. We plant and water. The harvest isn't ours to reap.
Right.
We there to make it grow. Christ is going to come to reap the harvest and separate the wheat from the tares. Come on, read.
Verse 11. And the vision of all is become unto you as the words of a book that is sealed.
The Bible is a sealed book, and theology and seminary is not going to help you understand it. So it says the vision of all, the understanding to all this, the way to combat it in every way, it's here already. and it comes to you as a book that is sealed. That's where we just read in Romans 11, where it says, David said, let your table be a snare, a trap, and a stumbling block. Because it's come to you as a book that is sealed and you can't see it. Come on.
Which men deliver to one that is learned.
Your theologians, your people who graduated from seminary school. Come on.
Saying, read this, I pray thee. And he saith, I cannot, for it is sealed.
He don't use those exact words, but he deflects.
They told me before I came into learning who I was, right? They told me the New Testament, the Old Testament is, they said the Old Testament sealed is the New Testament revealed.
Wow, because they can't understand how the prophecies go together.
Right, they didn't understand the Old Testament, so they
get that in Luke. We're gonna come back here where he says, because he wrote of me.
It says, it says, read this, I pray thee. He says, I cannot, for it is sealed. What I get from this is, prove to me that the Christian church, the Christian religion is a white man. Oh, all right, we need to do something. Jude 3. We need to do Jude 3 now. They're asking questions. We need to go and do some deep research to prove that Christianity comes from the roots of Africa. That's what I get from this.
Hell no. Okay, read this real quick.
Luke 24.
About the Old Testament. They told you 44. They told you they tell you. No, and some of them will tell you that it's sealed because you go to them with certain scriptures. I've never heard them say the whole Old Testament is sealed. That's crazy. But I've heard them with certain scriptures. You come to them and they go, oh, that's sealed. We can't understand it. And these are your theologians, these are your seminary graduates. Come on, read that.
The book of St. Luke, chapter 24 and verse 44. And he said unto them, these are the words which I spake unto you.
What words did Christ speak? The whole New Testament. Come on.
While I was yet with you, that all things must be fulfilled, which were written in the law of Moses, and in the prophets, and in the Psalms concerning me.
In the Psalms concerning me. It was written of him. So when they tell you the Old Testament seal, then who is their Christ?
Right.
Who is their Savior? When they tell you the Old Testament sealed and the new revealed, the new is the revealing of the old. So when you try to say that one is closed to you, you're saying that you never understood Christ to begin with.
Right.
Come on, get out of here with that, man. You have something else you want to
that next verse is
exactly go ahead, read it.
Verse 45. Then opened he their understanding.
Hey, yeah, and I've spoken about that before.
Yeah.
These were the apostles that walked with him.
Right.
And they knew much. Like, did they not have understanding?
Yeah.
They had spiritual powers. Healing people, preaching in his name.
All right.
He said, but after he said that, he opened up their understanding. Meaning he took them a step further in their learning.
Right.
Christianity wants to keep you in the dark. They want to keep you in the sleep. God is light. The understanding in Christ is opening up more knowledge to you, not less.
Right. And before he even did it, he said you have to know the Psalms and the law of Moses. So literally, you have to know that before he can open that. You have to know that before he can open that understanding. Let's go back to Isaiah 29 and read 11 again. Isaiah 29 and verse 11. Read out. And the vision of all is become unto you as the words of a book that is sealed, which men deliver to one that is learned, saying, read this, I pray thee. And he saith, I cannot, for it is sealed.
So that's your theologians, your seminary school. I have more articles that I wanted to go into where even amongst themselves, they have a thing called the low church and the high church. And the low church are those that really don't have seminaries, that haven't gone through that stuff. Maybe I'll carry it over to next week a little bit. Maybe. I'll see. And then they have the high church, which is dealing like Catholicism and those that their pastors all went to seminary and theology school. So that's verse 11. That's the high church. All right. I'm just giving you a little taste of that because I don't have time to do it today. All right. The low church is verse 12. Come on.
Verse 12. And the book is delivered to him that is not learned, saying, read this, I pray thee. And he saith, I am not learned.
Right. So he's saying, damn, right? It's basically saying the same thing. And what he's really saying is that even those are learned, when they say it's sealed, they're saying they're not learned. Their understanding's not opened up.
Right.
Read on. We're going down to verse 13.
Verse 13. Wherefore the Lord said, for as much as this people draw near me with their mouth, and with their lips do honor me.
And that's what you see in Christianity. That's what you see in the Christian church with this wicked Holy Week, with Easter coming up. Come on.
But have removed their heart far from me.
Their goal, their mind is not in this. Their mind is in philosophy. Theology and seminary teaches you how to argue and critique. Not how to edify your people. Not how to teach them repentance. Get me that is in don't read it yet. I want to finish this in Titus where it says exhort and convince the gainsayers. Theology doesn't do that for you. Seminary school doesn't do that for you.
Right.
Read verse 13 again.
Wherefore the Lord said, for as much as this people draw near me with their mouth, and with their lips do honor me, but have removed their heart far from me, and their fear toward me is taught by the precept of men.
Right, so I'm going to deal with that last verse, right, with Colossians 2 and 8. I know I'm calling out a bunch. Get it? I'm just going to do the one that we got in Titus and Colossians 2 and 8, and then we could do closing remarks or anything y'all want to bring out. Get me Titus. Get me Titus.
The book of Titus, chapter 1, verse 9. Holding fast the faithful word, as he hath been taught, that he may be able by sound doctrine both exhort, and to convince the gainsayers.
Right, so they're going to be those of our people, like you read in Romans 11, right? There's a portion that are darkened by God, and then the election receives that word. But we don't know who that is as his messengers in the earth. Only he knows that. That's why I say we plant and we water. God gives the increase. So it says that by sound doctrine, God commands us to exhort and convince the gainsayers. But seminary school, theology school, all these Christian pastors and these Christian churches, that's not what we just read and brought out today.
Right.
They teach them how to critique and argue and dissect with philosophy. That's why your pastors sound so confused. They're philosophers, not prophets.
They have no basis. They have no base.
No foundation.
There's no foundation.
There's nothing to where they come to and say, "Damn, you know what? That does make sense. You know what? Damn, that is a solution to the problem."
Yes.
They have no solution. There's all just problem upon problem upon problem.
Right. Theology is a white man's defense mechanism. Yeah. Well, theology is white supremacy. Right.
Can I read verse 10?
Go ahead.
For there are many unruly and vain talkers and deceivers, especially they of the circumcision.
Right, letting you know that of your own people. This is why I said you see the agenda now. They're putting black apologists, right? They're dealing because they're saying, oh, the black church and so on and so forth. And they're trying to put the face like Trick Baby up there in the front. Let me get Colossians 2 and 8, dealing with the last part of Isaiah 29:13. It says, the fear toward me is taught by the precept of men.
The book of Colossians, chapter 2 and verse 8. Beware, lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit.
Right, because you must keep yourself pure. You must keep yourself sanctified. And you will get spoiled through philosophy and vain deceit. Philosophy is the basis of theology. Philosophy is the basis of seminary. It's philosophy and vain deceit. So I can win an argument. Not exhort and convince gainsayers. So I can win an argument and say, this white man's doctrine, this white supremacist doctrine is true, and you should be following it. Y'all are teaching hate. All you do is, you know what you are? Like a ventriloquist. The white man's hand is up your ass, moving your mouth when you're talking all that crap. Read Colossians 2 and 8 again.
Beware, lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Christ.
Remember, it said that it deals with nature, the metaphysical, and all this other stuff. It's after Christ that we need to teach. It's after Christ that you bring that stuff up. That's why I say it's lies your pastor taught you. For the sake of the history piece, a Lord's Will Life Lasts, I'll spend part of the next show with the rest of the links that I have because there's some more good information in there. I wanted to do it because Easter is Sunday and this is Holy Week, but we could still do a follow-on and deal with that aspect of it. Do y'all got anything that y'all want to do before closing out?
One last scripture.
Go ahead.
Last scripture. Get 2 Corinthians 4 and 3.
Okay.
2 Corinthians 4 and 3.
I smell what you're cooking. The book of 2 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 3. But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost.
So if our gospel is hid, it is hid to them that are lost.
That goes to Romans 11, yep.
So what we're doing tonight is we're convincing those that may still be considering Easter and also bringing light to the situation. Read.
In whom the God of this world.
It says beware and don't be spoiled through those things of this world. Read.
in whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not.
So we all need to take heed to that, because it says that the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them that believe not. Read.
Lest the light of our glorious gospel of Christ, who is the image of God, should shine unto them.
And that's what we're doing today, is to bring that out, to let that shine unto those that may hear.
All praises to the Most High. Anything, Officer Ishaiah?
No. I'm just waiting for next week.
All right. Yeah, we'll go into, I'll break it down a little bit more with the Holy Week, the low church, the high church, and all that nonsense.
I do want to say one thing. Hey, these words that we read, beware philosophies and vain deceits, man, the Bible is not a coincidence in the words it uses, man. Because it's like we go into this and you're like, oh, that's their foundation, philosophy. Well, what does the Bible say about philosophy? Oh, beware philosophy and vain deceit. That's heavy, man. All praise to the Most High, man. I can't wait for next week.
Yeah, I had to set the foundation with the history piece and everything like that, so that now you get more emphasis now. Now when you, and how many times have we read those scriptures?
Many.
But now you're seeing
Or
them in the
everything.
words that were used and what they put right in front of you, and it's like, damn. More and more revelation coming out.
Right.
And it's not just, oh, yeah, that means this and that means that. That meaning doesn't change, but now it's become more magnified when you read stuff like that.
Right, there's more layers now.
That's that Nehemiah 8 and that. You cause them to understand what they're reading.
Yeah, he calls them to understand, give the sense. All praises to the Most High. Well, we appreciate y'all tuning in, all right? Remember, we're also on IUIC TV now. Please support and like the pages, all right? We're definitely looking to continue to grow and reach the people, not just globally. I know we have a national audience with these different platforms, but we want to reach these people out here in Phoenix, right? And the more likes and subscribes we get, no matter where they come from, it's going to be front and center and more positioned in front of our people, all right? Saturday, 11 a.m. Arizona time, exclusively on Facebook at the Lost 144K.
La Hora de Poder.
La Hora de Poder.
We didn't do it last week.
Okay, we're doing the Spanish show, all right? And then Lord's Will Life Last next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Arizona time, all right? We'll be back on for you, all right? So with that, we say shalom.
Shalom.
Lego.
Israel is back.
We back.
Israel is back.
We
got
back.
the nations running scared because Israel is back. All lies on us because we keeping them laws. When the Lord will return, Babylon will fall. Precepts solid. We got them on lock. God's chosen people with Christ as our rock. Israel is back.
We back.
Israel is back.
We back.
You heathen, get ready for our whip to crack.
Damn.